So this is by far the most prevalent genetic modification that we see in crops. So it's found currently in 6 different crops commercially. So corn, soybean, and cotton have been glyphosate resistant since the late 1990s. In more recent years, we've also added canola, alfalfa, and sugar beets. All right, so as you saw from the article, we've encountered a bit of a problem with all of these glyphosate-resistant crops. So this map here is showing you the trends in evolution of glyphosate-resistant weeds. And so the kind of darker colors here show states where, so Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, they've all had 6 different species of glyphosate-resistant weeds evolve. So this is, again, it's all by natural selection. So in the Midwest, most common crop rotation is that you grow corn one year, and then the following year you grow soybeans in the same field. So the soybeans fix nitrogen, which is good for the soil. The following year you come through with corn. So what used to be done is that you could spray soybean fields with herbicides that killed grasses. So you dealt with your grass weeds, and then the following year you grow your corn, which is grass, and you spray a broadleaf herbicide. So you're spraying a different herbicide every year. So even if a weed developed had a mutation that made it resistant to, say, the grass herbicide, the next year you would come through and spray with a different one, and it would die. But now we're spraying Roundup every year, and so that's allowed those resistance genes to spread through the population. So this is still a pretty significant problem, though companies have developed crops that are resistant to a different herbicide, so they might be able to alternate using those. All right, so any questions about the herbicide resistance? All right, so Amanda told you guys about BT. So this is the other major transgene that's currently on the market in the United States. So this isn't in quite as many crops. So it's in corn, soybean, and cotton currently. The soybean just came out in the US. All right, so we told you already that the genetic modification in these crops is that we added in the cry gene that makes this toxic protein. And so when the insects eat this protein, it actually gets into their gut and dissolves the lining of their gut so that they can't eat. But there are lots of different variants of BT that grow naturally. So scientists went and looked at a lot of these different bacteria and identified different alleles of the cry gene. So can someone tell me what an allele is? Yeah, exactly. So an allele is a variant of the gene. So when we think about, like, Mendel's bees, this might be purple and white flowers, right? Big P, little p. Those are the alleles. So currently there are 8 different cry alleles that have been engineered into commercially grown plants. Some plants will just have one, others will have multiple cry genes inserted at the same time. So what might be the benefit of having multiple alleles of this cry gene in a single crop plant? Yeah.
You have one insect that's maybe immune to one type, because insects, just like all other things, will eventually evolve to have a better adaptation for that, but then it won't be to the other, so it could still kill those as well. Any leftover. It'd be hard to for an insect to compensate for 2 cry genes than it would be just for one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's exactly right. So if you have 2 different cry genes that work in a slightly different way, the chance that an insect would evolve a resistance to both of those is somewhat reduced. The other reason is that different crygenes, the proteins that they make, are more or less effective for different species of insects. And so by having more crygenes, you can make your plant resistant to more species of insects. All right, so that's one way to try to maybe prevent resistance of insects to our genetically modified crop. There's a second method, which is called refuges. And so a refuge is an area that you plant in your field with non-genetically modified plants. And so the thinking here is that in your genetically modified area, most of your insects are going to die. But if one of them happens to evolve resistance, those are going to be very, very successful, right? Because they have no competition. Everybody else died. But in the refuge area, you're going to have lots of non-resistant insects that are breeding happily. And if the insects from over here mate with the resistant one, you'll wind up with a heterozygous insect which can still be killed by the modified crops. So this takes advantage of an evolutionary process we talked about towards the beginning of the semester. Anyone remember what that might be? Relates to interactions between populations. We talked about it in the context of islands before. Brainstorming, all right. So I'm
Talking
thinking
about
of
the
gene flow.
first
Yeah.
chapter.
There you go.
Talking about the
So gene flow,
Gene
so
flow.
remember, it's not only natural selection that's affecting the frequency of alleles within populations, right? It's also gene flow between your population and other surrounding populations. So in this case, we're having flow of normal susceptible alleles from our refuge into this resistant population, and is hopefully cutting down on the number of resistant